Hopefully.
Welcome to the Grassroots Army Podcast. This platform is for common sense people looking for up-to-date, accurate, and truthful information without the hot garbage corporate media bias. The power of one can lead to the power of many. You never know what small act that you may say or do that may literally change the lives of millions tomorrow. And don't you ever think that you can't make a difference, because you can.
Good morning, my fellow Michiganders. Good morning, my fellow Americans. Holy cow, do I have a fantastic live for all of you here today. We're actually going to bring a mom on who's filed a lawsuit in Lowell, Michigan against the school system for discrimination. And so we're going to actually bring her on. The lawsuit has been filed, and she's going to fill us in on everything that's going on with it. And that's why it's so important for all of you moms and dads out there. Hey, look, you have to stand up against this. And unfortunately, the only way that you're going to win is get the right representation on your school boards. And if you're not allowing that to happen, then you're going to have to file lawsuits. Okay. And that is what a lot of these brave men and women have done, these parents, these mama bears and papa bears that have been doing across the country. And that's how we inspire change. So she's going to come on and share her story with what's going on. And we have some footage and some exhibits that I'm going to share to kind of like put this story together. But also I have to show my man Vivek Ramaswamy in his 8-minute speech last night. Very powerful. For those of you who've been following Vivek, he is a very powerful speaker. He definitely has a future in politics, that's for sure. So it's 8 minutes long, but I'm going to show that towards the end after we talk to Miss Stephanie Boone. That is for sure. So let me bring her on right now. Stephanie, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Garrett. Glad to be here.
So holy cow, we have to fill in everyone what's going on in your neck of the woods. So can you just kind of share this story of what you and your husband have been doing here in Lowell schools in Michigan?
Sure. My husband and I live in Ada, Michigan, which is on the northeast side of Grand Rapids. We actually live in Forest Hills Public Schools District, and we've had one of our children graduate from Forest Hills. Our boys over the years have found that they enjoyed the sports programs better through Lowell schools. So initially it was the football program that kind of recruited. They didn't recruit us, but we found that we liked the youth program a lot better there. So our boys have all either graduated or attended Lowell schools through the School of Choice program. We chose Lowell schools, and we've been a part of that program for over 10 years. We love the schools. We have many, many friends, teachers and staff members, and kids and their parents who are friends in the district. And we found it to be, at the time, a very conservative district with conservative values, a farm town, small town. In 2020, things changed for us, and there was a change in superintendents after the COVID mandates. I think the superintendent who had been holding the line there kind of said, I'm done with this. A lot of drama. I think a lot of superintendents did that at the time. In the spring of 2021, let me back up a little bit. None of our kids were able to medically tolerate a mask in school. All of our children had medical mask waivers for school. They were, to my knowledge, the only kids in their schools that were not wearing masks at a time when all of the staff and kids were wearing masks. So that probably led to some animosity from some of the staff members related to some of, to our kids and the fact that they, were treated differently. If we can thank the lockdowns for one thing, I've said this a lot, but we can thank them for giving parents an eye into what was being taught in our kids' schools. We were trusting for way too long, and we gave the keys to the administrators and the school boards, and we trusted. And this is coming from a certified teacher. I'm a certified teacher, and I can tell you that I've taught in public schools for years. I'm not currently teaching, but I wanted to be trusted as a teacher, and I felt very strongly that I could be trusted. But even for myself, I probably at the time was following some bad advice from my administrators, not knowing what I was doing. I started looking into things and found out in the spring of 2021, summer of 2021, that things were not what we thought. We were seeing, I was asking friends, longtime friends who lived in Lowell, graduates of Lowell, hey, are we this critical race theory thing? Are you guys seeing signs of this at all? And they were all like, no, that's not going on in our schools. Well, I started doing some digging, looking around, and found that one of the first things I found was that our superintendent had signed on to something called a KISSA agreement. Have you heard of that? It's the agreement through the intermediate school district that all of the superintendents signed on to, labeling our school district as inherently racist and admitting that we all need to do a better job of being anti-racist and teach our children in our schools that, we're racist and we can do better. So starting from there, I was part of a group on Facebook called Lowell Kids First. Actually, another mom started it up, but I got recruited to help with it because I was kind of outspoken about the mandates and some of the other things going on. And I started having teachers reach out to me privately because they're scared. They don't want to be exposed. They don't want to lose their job. They don't want to be punished. So privately, they would reach out to me. And we found out about a book dump in the schools that was DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. It was filled with, the gender ideologies, sex, sexual content, political, of course, it was politicized, BLM, you name it. These book dumps went into the classrooms in the summer while the teachers were away. They came back to school and they had a pile of books on their desk with a binder that said, hey, try your best to read at least one of these books a day as a read aloud to try to encourage diversity, equity, and inclusion discussion and to help our kids be less racist. They were bringing in purposeful teachings, mandatory professional development into the schools, making the teachers feel very uncomfortable, to the point where the schools decided we're not going to use these companies anymore because they're making our teachers even feel uncomfortable. So I've asked questions. I've been as respectful as I can along the way. I use the proper chain of command. I email the teachers. I call the teachers. If I don't get an answer or if the answer doesn't seem like it's up to par, I'll go to the principal. And if I still don't get anywhere, I'll go to the superintendent and then the school board. So I follow the chain of command. I go to school board meetings. I speak out. I actually spearheaded an effort to recall the school board at one point in Lowell because I felt as though they were not doing their job of answering the questions of concerned community members. They were not following their duties as elected officials.
I think I highlighted Lowell. Like at one time, I remember.
Did you?
Yeah, like I remember saying, because my kids play football against you guys, and I remember, that's the school my boys play football against. So I mean, a lot of parents like yourself. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think this is the point is a lot of parents like yourself. That's what they've been doing, and that's one thing I've been highlighting over the past 2 years now. These school boards and parents standing up, and they feel like they're just beating their head against the wall. And like you, they're following that chain of command. They're emailing the teachers. They're trying to have open line of conversation. They're talking to the principals and the superintendents, and then they go in front of the school board, and it just seems like nothing is happening. It's just like these parents are beating their head against the wall. Did you experience similar kind of results?
I did. I felt like no matter which avenue I tried, nothing was clicking. Which is what led me toward the recall effort, because I thought, what in the world? I am trying to be respectful. These people are not answering emails. They're not responding to my requests for communication after a school board meeting. Instead, I was I was met with negativity. I was met with some of these teachers and school board members were actually posting on social media, commenting, saying nasty things about me and my family as a result. And, I can understand being upset about a school board recall effort. But I said from the beginning with that, this is not personal. This is nothing about me versus you as a person. This is about a job. This is an employer and an employee relationship. And the taxpayers, the stakeholders of the district, employ the school board. And we employ the administration of our public schools. And when they are failing at their duties, then there's a problem there, and it's up to us to hold them accountable. So I would take the information, what little I received, anything I received, and I would post on social media about it in a private group called Lowell Kids First, and also on my personal Facebook page, Instagram, wherever I could, because I feel that, the taxpayers deserve to have transparency and accountability. And any chance I had to do that, a lot of times I was met with, Lowell schools would block me. At one point, they completely blocked me from their social media, which you can't do that.
That's mind-boggling. Like
Yeah.
that happens to me all the time when I expose these school boards. I suddenly get blocked.
Oh, sure.
It's interesting because you're like, hey, I'm just hosting a school board meeting that's public, right?
Exactly.
And blocking me.
Kind of interesting. The levels they are willing to go to try to silence someone who is simply speaking the truth about what's going on in our schools. And we know it's the truth because if we ask them to provide evidence to the contrary, to refute what we're saying, they have nothing. They have nothing.
So I'm sure you've been labeled as a bigot, discriminatory, right? Homophobe, transphobe,
racist,
and you always use
you
these
name it.
types of buzzwords like, well, you have to see the world through our lens. And you're like, okay, I'll look through your lens. And then you look through the lens and you're like, I still don't agree with it. And then they freak out, right? And then they just like, well, since you're not going to follow through what I believe in, then I'm going to attack you. I'm going to hate you. I'm going to try to cancel you. It's their kind of their playbook 101. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward to some of the exhibits that I have right here with these T-shirts. Okay, is this kind of everything's kind of leading up to what we're going to talk about right now. But was this kind of like the nail in the coffin for you to say, you know what, I'm done? Like what was that moment where you're like, we have to file a lawsuit?
Well, the moment for me, there have been so many times where my husband and I have said, we have got to do something more because, holding them accountable on social media and going to board meetings and attending and I've tried to be involved every step of the way. I've tried to be a part of the parent advisory committee. I've tried to get on the sex ed advisory board. I've tried to, to have meetings with the teachers or the administrators, and I'm blocked every step of the way. They do not, you weren't selected. I'm sorry. Every time. I've tried to join the Kent District Library Board. I ran for Kent County Commissioner. I mean, I have run the gamut with the things I've tried. And finally for us, it was just this past January, I had made a post on Lowell Kids First about a teacher, the Spanish teacher at the high school who is a social justice warrior. We'll just say that based on the things that she teaches. When I was in high school, I've had 5 years of Spanish. We learned Spanish in Spanish class. That's not the case anymore. I mean, she did a presentation at a school board meeting all about bringing Agenda 2030 into the Spanish classroom. It's all about DEI in Spanish. And since when? Teach our kids how to speak Spanish and be fluent in Spanish. So with that,
wake up in Espanol, right?
Yeah.
Teach us the verbs.
There you go. El hombre gordo.
Yeah, right?
Yes.
Common sense and logic, math, science, reading, history. If you're going to teach a language, hey, teach the basics of the language. We don't have to put and input political garbage into the Spanish classes.
Exactly. So, of course she wouldn't say that that's what she's doing, but through the trainings we're seeing, she's going to a special training. I think it's in like Uruguay this summer, where it's all about how to bring these leftist ideologies into the classroom. Anyway, I posted about that, and with it, I posted, I'm a Christian, and I posted a Bible verse, Matthew 18:6, which is the one that talks about those who would harm a child would be better off with a millstone around their neck at the bottom of the sea. And I did, my point to that post was like, we need to be careful about what we are doing with our children and where we're guiding them and what our intentions are with our kids. And I'm scared for what is going on in our schools. And that post apparently ruffled some feathers, because I got a homemade cease and desist letter from the Lowell High School principal, who, I've had quite some interaction with him over the past few years. This goes back to my son at the time was a freshman. He was incorrectly contact traced, and he was told he needed to quarantine for 2 weeks, but he had letters from 5 of his friends who were right there in the room saying that my son was not anywhere near the positive case. They all knew who it was. They were all friends. And the principal had said, no, I know, but under an abundance of caution, we just want your son to stay home. Well, that meant that he missed his PSAT testing. He was crazy stressed about all of that. I brought him anyway for 3 days in a row, and the sheriff wound up bringing my son home from school in a sheriff cruiser, because we were told we would be trespassed if it happened again. So,
and just to point out, everything that they were doing has been proven to be 100% wrong.
Absolutely.
Matter, but we don't want to talk about that. Let's just sweep everything underneath the rug and what we did to these kids with canceling their experiences, their hopes, their dreams.
Never mind about any of that. Doesn't matter.
Garbage. Sorry that your son had to go through that.
So anyway, there's been some history with this principal. And he has shown himself to be extremely pro-public schools, which is great. I'm very pro-public schools also. My kids have always attended. I taught in public schools for years. I've somehow been labeled as a public schools hater, and I'm anti-public schools, and that is so not true. That's why we keep fighting to keep our kids in public schools. Anyway, he sent me a letter that said, and this was back in January, it basically said, you are concerning me with the things that you're posting. You are, let me see if I can find basically all the labels we get labeled with: misinformation, disinformation, derogatory, a hater, right? He said that I am directed to not have any contact with Lowell School's staff without either his permission or the permission of the involved school principal or superintendent. He also said that I am not to post on social media about staff members anymore at all. So I that for me, you asked what was the straw that broke the camel's back. That was it. There were so many things that happened along the way. The t-shirts we can talk about, that's just one thing that has happened. But for my husband and I, it was like, you are kidding me. We just had one graduate this spring. We still have 3 more coming through the schools. And you're telling me I can't speak with my kids' teachers or email them or have any contact with them without talking to you first? No.
And that cease and desist came when? This past January in 2023?
Yes, 2024.
Okay, I'm sorry.
This January.
Okay. And when did you file the lawsuit?
In June.
June of this year? Just last month?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. And are you allowed to talk about the teachers and the administrators and all that? Or is there a threat for them to sue you if we bring up someone today? I just want to protect you.
Well, I'm still under threat. So the cease and desist told me that if I don't follow their order, that I am under threat of legal action or being trespassed against the schools, so that I'm not even allowed on school property. And again, we've got 3 kids who attend the public schools. I go to as many board meetings as I can and I speak, but technically I'm breaking their cease and desist order by doing that. I don't really know. I've tried to ask for clarification. We have kids who have friends who their parents are teachers in Lowell schools. So I've reached out to the schools and said, hey, am I supposed to get your permission for my son to spend the night at so-and-so's house because their kid is or their parent is a teacher? And they won't respond to me. So I truly don't know, where is the line here? What are we doing? And so I'm kind of flying blind right now with this. I did reach out to the superintendent with a copy of the principal's cease and desist letter. And I said, were you aware that he wrote this on Lowell School's letterhead? And did you approve of it? And his response was yes.
Wow.
So, and we have that in writing as well. He approved it. The principal has spoken out publicly at a school board meeting against me. And it is just crazy, the things that are being said. So I really don't know.
We have to remind everyone too, like, this is Lowell, Michigan. If you don't know where Lowell is, I want you to duck go that bad boy, right, and find out what it is. It is a small community. It is a farm community. And a lot of people still don't believe that this is not happening in my school system. And I tell everyone, you better get involved. You have to get involved. And you literally have exhausted everything. And you were left with one or two choices, basically, to give up and pull your kids from public school, and obviously you didn't, or fight back the lawsuit, which you have. Okay. So number one, thank you from the bottom of my heart, and everyone that is watching is probably getting a tons of inspiration and motivation from you, because we have ordinary people. Once again, that's the whole essence of this movement, this grassroots army, that are doing extraordinary things, and you have. And I want to give to an example that we have some footage on it are these T-shirts. Okay. So I'm going to bring it up, and I just kind of want you to describe to everyone what's going on with this. Okay. So we have the Lowell Red Arrow Pride T-shirt and your post on it. So go ahead and explain to the audience what happened.
So this was already a couple of years ago. You can see April 2022. This Lowell Kids First group is a group that a friend of mine had put together during the mandates for COVID. A group of concerned parents who were frustrated about the lockdowns. And I was asked to be a part of this group as well, because I had been very vocal on my own social media. So we made shirts. We had a couple thousand of them made just to represent, because so many people in Lowell, you talk about a small town, everybody knows everybody. They all graduated together or they work together. They are afraid to speak out. So we thought, hey, this might be a way for people to just represent the fact that they are concerned and they can have a voice too. So the back of the shirt is pretty benign. It says Lowell Red Arrow Pride. The mascot for Lowell area schools is the Red Arrow. So shouldn't we have pride in our schools? And then of course an American flag, which we all should take pride in. The front of the shirt has the Lowell Kids First logo. Underneath it's small, but on the bottom it says #AllRedArrowsMatter. So it's pretty inclusive, pretty benign. But we had, thousands of these shirts made up. My kids took them in bags to school. We announced, hey, get your free shirts. I even had my kids dropping them off in neighborhoods, driving around. Anyone who wanted them, they were free for them. It didn't matter who. My kids came to school. They were surrounded before the bell rang, before school started. They were surrounded by kids and staff members wanting T-shirts. Well, a couple of the staff members, the administration, came running over to my kids. I tried to FOIA for camera footage, and they denied me the right to get the footage. They wanted the T-shirts. They said, you can't be passing these out. They confiscated the T-shirts, took them into the office, and told them you are not allowed to pass these out. So I was, of course, in contact with the schools at that point, who told me that these are divisive. The message on the t-shirt is divisive and that they cannot be passed out in our schools. So, of course, my boys took them out into the parking lot later. But that day, I had to get the sheriff involved in order to get the schools to give me my t-shirts back. Meanwhile, we have Lowell staff members passing out Lowell Pride with the rainbow insignia, Red Arrow Pride t-shirts. No problem. Those can be worn in school and passed out in school, but not the Lowell Red Arrow Pride Lowell Kids First t-shirts. Those are divisive.
And you said on this post that the Pride, the Red Arrow Pride with the rainbow, obviously, that was being sold at Lowell High School, and the administration was okay with that. The teachers were wearing those.
Yes.
But you can't wear one with the American flag. And hey, you even said Lowell area or Lowell Red Arrow Pride.
Yeah. A teacher at one of the schools was taken into the office for wearing one of those t-shirts and was told that she can't wear that shirt. It's divisive. Meanwhile, we've got teachers wearing BLM t-shirts, Red Arrow Pride rainbow t-shirts, no problem there. But if you wear one that says all red arrows matter, oh my goodness, that's the problem.
And that's the insanity, again, with their buzzword that they always use with their lens, right?
Yes.
Do as I say, not as I do. Yeah, if you support our ideology, we're best friends and we love you. But when you support, like, hey, and that's the whole point with public schools is separation of church and state, right? Like, if you truly want to be all-inclusive, then you should be all-inclusive and honor everybody's beliefs. And that is keeping all this garbage out of the schools and focusing on the common sense, math, science, reading, history, all that. I mean, that to me is common sense. So where are we at right now with the lawsuit? Like, so you filed it in June. What's happening now?
So they have acknowledged receipt of the lawsuit, the defendants have, and they have until August 12th to officially respond. If they try to get the case dismissed, we'll have to go through the appeals process. Otherwise, we're looking at hopefully a jury trial to move things along. And my husband and I just want to thank you so much for letting us get the word out about this lawsuit. Not because we greedily want to win. It's not a personal thing for us. It never has been. This is not about winning and losing per se for ourselves. I've had a lot of people reach out and say, I'm so sorry for your troubles with Lowell schools and good luck with your lawsuit. Well, thank you. But this is not mine. This is ours. If we could get a win, this would be a win for parents, all parents, because no parent should be shut out of their child's education. This would be a win in so many ways for us. But even if we don't get a win in the courts, that's okay, because people like you are allowing us to get the word out about standing up. It's okay, and you don't need to be afraid about losing jobs. My husband's got 2 dental practices in the Grand Rapids area that he very much could fear losing, because the left is great about going on to Google and Yelp and making nasty reviews and trying to paint us out to be nasty people when we are not. So we don't care. And, I thank my husband all the time too for not being afraid. And we've said from the get-go, if this means we lose our businesses, then God has another plan for us, because I know his plan is not for us to not stand up for what's right for the kids. So,
amen. And you can put your head down every single night knowing that you still
that is right.
That says a lot right there. Like, you weren't willing to take it. And so many people, they live in this kind of this false reality that they're in control and that they're safe. Mm-hmm. And hey, look, you're not. It's slowly being stripped away from you.
Right.
And what you just said about parental rights, California just passed a law stripping parents of their rights.
Yep.
Michigan is slowly right behind California. It truly is. And that's why.
Not so slow either. It's happening.
You're right.
I mean, we're watching our school boards change policies preemptively to follow along with Biden's Title IX changes when he was ruled unconstitutional. And these schools should not be moving forward. I just had to inform Lowell schools. I'm a member of Moms for Liberty. So our school is protected against these Title IX ridiculous changes that Biden administration wants to make in our schools. But they don't care about that. They don't care about what's going on in the conservative world. They only care about their side of things. And to any parent or teacher or administrator or school board member out there who feels like, yeah, I agree with you, Stephanie, but I don't want to lose my position. I don't want to lose my job. They'll punish me, or I have friends. I don't want to stop that. You have to push forward for what is right for the kids, because if you don't, if you feel sorry for me, that they are silencing me and they are slandering me and trying to make my family out to be the bad guys, if you feel sorry for me, don't think for a second that they won't do it to you. And they will. If we don't stop this, it's going to continue to get worse and worse.
And just to piggyback on what you just said about being fearful about losing your job, a young lady that I talked to, Jessica Tapia, I think her name is, she has a pretty good following on Instagram. She just won a lawsuit and got paid several $100,000 for refusing not to inform parents. She's like, I'm not going to do that. And that was in California. So your lawsuit could set similar precedents, and that's what needs to happen. You can't just take it. People are like, pull your kids. My kids are in public school.
Yep.
And I refuse to get them out because you know what? I'm not going to. Now, if they were in elementary school, they wouldn't be in public school right now. I would do that because their brains are very malleable at that age.
Yeah.
So, and when the mask stuff happened, they enforced the mask. We pulled our kids, put them back in. But my kids are very focused on re-educating them and having conversations nonstop.
Absolutely.
And that's what you have to do as parents. It's easy to pull and run, but sometimes you got to hold that line and take back like you're doing.
Yeah.
You can't, because you lose.
Exactly. And it's not for everyone. Like, I've actually been shamed by conservative parents who have said, you are harming your children by keeping them in public schools. Well, we have some pretty strong kids we have 6 kids. We're a very, very family oriented, close knit family. We talk a lot. That's not to say they've not come home crying and had a bad day and felt like, why is the world against me? But, we have to weigh that as parents and do our best to make the best judgment call with that. And, right now, we've been told, pull your kids, get out. You literally choose to send your kids to Lowell schools. Yes, we do. Because when we chose 10 years ago to send our kids to Lowell schools, we weren't aware that this stuff was going on in the schools. So of course they're well embedded. They've got friends. Their best friends go to Lowell schools. They love, most of the teachers are great, right? Like, it's just this small few pushing this agenda that so for us, we have decided if we pull our kids, the harm or the negative effects of doing that for us would be worse than leaving them in at this point.
And I think they're battle tested. I mean,
they are
as parents to get them ready for the real life. And it's not like once they get out of public schools that everything's sunshine and rainbows. No. It's being force-fed in the corporate world now. It is happening.
It's rainbows.
There's lots of rainbows force-fed down your throat. And now companies are starting to slowly wake up. Like John Deere just posted something that they're pulling all this stuff from sponsoring all these pride events. DEI slowly, and corporate media is not talking about. People are starting to pull those programs. All that is happening because people like yourself are willing to stand in there and fight and call out the garbage and take the hits and take the arrows, just like you said, on both sides of the aisle, unfortunately. But my goodness gracious, thank you for everything.
So you talked about protecting the younger kids a little bit, like if you could have pulled your kids at the younger ages, and about how their minds are malleable. And I've spoken at state board of ed meetings about this as well, but about the need to protect young minds. And I've been huge in trying to clean up our public school libraries and classroom libraries. We could get into another whole topic there with the books and the garbage that we're finding there as well. And I've been labeled as a book burner, a book banner. No, I am not. that is completely different than trying to protect young minds from illegal pornographic material. What is wrong with people? What is the problem with protecting children from stuff that is deemed illegal?
That's why there's boys and penthouses and hustler magazines and school libraries. I mean, it's common sense.
Yeah. And so I followed the school's book challenge process. A book called All Boys Aren't Blue is horrible. I'm sure you've seen it. And the school board voted. The little committee they put together, which of course was filled with their choice of who would be on the committee, voted unanimously to keep the book in the libraries. And then the school board had to back that up. They voted 6-1. One of the school board members did speak out against the book. But it's just insanity that we literally have these people that are voting to keep pornographic, sexually explicit material in our schools. And my question is, why? What good? Show me one study that shows the positive effects of early exposure to sexually explicit material. Why do kids need to be exposed to that? They don't. So there's just another example of trying to be involved. I'm trying to follow their processes, and I'm being shut down every step of the way. And that's okay.
It gives me the chills when I'm seeing it. I was like tearing me up right now. This light is coming through, like God is shining the light.
I see that.
It's awesome. It's like a mic drop from God, right? That's powerful. Let me move on to the memorandum that was delivered out. I have it right here. What date is it? I want to make sure. August 10th, 2023. So last year, this was put out. And it strictly states in there, and I can show it, but I want to read. It says, clothing promoting political beliefs, religious beliefs, and or any other controversial issues are not to be worn by staff at any time. This was put out, and I want to just prove it out there. I want to show people where this came from, right? From a memorandum. 1 second. There it is. All right. Did they follow this now, or are they still wearing garbage? Because this was a year ago. Okay. Are they still wearing stuff? Oh, they are.
Yes. So, that memorandum was actually in response to my efforts to work with the HR director of Lowell schools to try to put something out there to help control what's going on with the staff. But no, it's absolutely not being followed. They're still wearing their pride. They've got pride stickers on their badge, their ID badge. One of the teachers spoke at a board meeting, and she pointed to her rainbow glasses, that she was proud that she was wearing those. I mean, they're purposefully doing this in our schools. We know it.
Not controversial when you look at their lens, according to them.
No. One of my posts I made was about, people say this all the time, but like, would it be okay if a teacher hung a Christian flag in their classroom, or would that be taken down? And I've asked that question of our superintendent, and he refuses to respond. Another thing is the closets. Have you heard about the closets where they take donations? Lowell has what's called an Arrow Assist closet in the middle school and high school. They take donations from the community. It's personal hygiene needs or clothing, things that a kid might need that they're not getting their needs met at home. We're not exactly sure what's in these closets. I know for sure in Forest Hills, they had posted, I think it was on their Instagram page, a specific request for one of the items was a chest finder. So what does that tell you? I mean, so I had reached out to the administration in Lowell, and I asked, so I've got 5 boys. If one of my boys goes into an Arrow Assist closet in the morning dressed as a traditional boy outfit, he's got jeans and a t-shirt on, and he comes out in what would be a traditional girl outfit, let's say he has skirt and high heels on, would that warrant a call or a communication home to me as the parent? They refuse to answer that.
So basically they're hiding stuff from parents. That's what it comes
down. It would lead us to believe that. Yes.
Yeah, I've heard of those similar closets. I think Portage, Michigan had something similar in one of their schools that they were.
Yeah.
I think they got it removed. I'm not sure. I haven't followed up since.
Oh, did they? Okay.
So
Nice.
there was an outcry, but I can't
Mhm.
confirm that. I just heard. Stephanie, thank you so much. Obviously, what I'm going to leave this to you. What would you like to say to everyone that's watching right now, especially to the parents that you inspired them today? Like, what kind of advice do you have for them, or inspiration for them to follow through and stand up against this hot garbage?
My advice, I can't say it enough, is if you have one of those moments where you have that pit in your stomach and you feel that you need to say something, don't let that pass by. Say what needs to be said. My motto for myself while I was campaigning for Kent County Commissioner was show up, stand up, speak up. And I meant it. And I reminded myself of that many times at meetings where I got that pit in my stomach and I thought, oh, I can't do this today. And then somehow, some way, God would put the words in my mind and I knew what to say. He does it for me all the time at school board meetings where I think I can't do this today. And I go and I'm shamed. I'm very alone at school board meetings in Lowell. And then on the back end, I come home and I have all these private messages and texts from people saying, keep going, please. And I'm like, come to the school board meeting, please. So that is my advice. Don't let those moments pass you by, because at the end of the day, all I know is I need to know that I stood up for what I know is right for our kids so that they can be proud also. And there are probably days that they're like, oh gosh, Mom, what did you do today? But for the most part, they tell me time and again, thank you. And they tell me that their friends wish I was their mom. So those are the things that keep me going.
Stephanie, my goodness gracious, this is probably one of the best interviews I've ever been a part of. You're powerful, you're inspiring, you inspire me, and I know everyone that's watching today is going to be inspired by you, and you are the whole essence of this movement, the grassroots army of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. So I can't thank you enough.
Thank you, Garrett. I appreciate you so much.
Have a great day, and God bless you and your family.
You as well. God bless you.
Wow. I mean, holy cow, what I need you all to do right now, I need you to share this live. One of the most powerful lives that we have done with the Grassroots Army podcast. You guys, we have to get this messaging out. We have to get the messaging out to the parents who may be willing to do what Stephanie and her husband are doing right now, is standing up not only for their kids, but your kids. And so when these folks do this, you got to get behind them. You got to support them. You got to show up to the school board meetings. It's so easy just to turn a blind eye. You can't. And these brave people are standing up and actually putting themselves out there and putting their businesses out there. I can relate. It's very scary. You get attacked, right? You lose some of your business. You truly do. But my goodness gracious, you'll be able to sleep better at night knowing that you stood for something bigger than self. And that's called passion. Now, I want to bring two more things on today. I know it's been a long live, but I think it's very important to listen to what Vivek has to say, because he really dropped the mic last night. I heard Ben Carson also had a great mic drop moment. I'm going to watch that today and post some footage of that. But also, President Trump is coming to Grand Rapids this weekend in Saturday, 5:00 p.m. Free tickets. Make your pilgrimage to freedom. I will be there with my entire family. I'm bringing my two young men, my boys with me, my wife. We will be at this event to show our support to President Trump. Vice President Vance will be there. So get on board, show up, let's support him. He's coming into our hometown, west side of the state. If you're on the east side of the state, make your pilgrimage to freedom. If you're from the UP, make your pilgrimage to freedom. Get down and let's show our support for our president, President Trump. The link to get those tickets is in the description of this video, so you can click on it and then roll with it. So on Saturday, 5 p.m., that is when this is going to go down. So let's listen in to what Vivek had to say last night. It was absolutely fantastic. Here we go.
Please welcome businessman Vivek Ramaswamy of Ohio.
Love it. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the warm welcome. It's good to be back in Milwaukee. This time last year, I was a candidate for U.S. president, and I'm proud to say that I achieved the impossible, which is that most of you actually know how to say my name by now. So thank you for that. It's good to be back. We're in the middle of a national identity crisis right now. Faith, patriotism, hard work, and family have disappeared, only to be replaced by race, gender, sexuality, and climate. But we're not going to win this election just by criticizing the other side. We're going to win this by standing for our own vision of who we really are. What does it mean to be a Republican in the year 2024? What does it mean to be an American in the year 2024? It means we believe in the ideals of 1776. It means we believe in merit, that you get ahead in this country, not on the color of your skin, but on the content of your character and your contributions. It means we believe in the rule of law, and I say this as the kid of legal immigrants to this country. That means your first act of entering this country cannot break the law. That is why we will seal the southern border on day one. Thank you. It means the people who we elect to run the government ought to be the ones who actually run the government, not unelected bureaucrats in the deep state. These are not black ideas or white ideas. They are not even Democrat ideas or Republican ideas. They are American ideas that we fought a revolution to secure. And the man who will revive these ideals in the United States of America is your next president, the 47th president of the United States, Donald J. Trump. If you want to seal the border, vote Trump. If you want to restore law and order in this country, vote Trump. If you want to reignite the economy in this country, vote Trump. If you want to revive national pride in this country, vote Trump. If you want to make America great again, vote Trump. But there is one more reason I'm going to ask you to vote Trump, and it's the most important one. It's the one the media won't talk about, but it's the truth. Donald Trump is the president who will actually unite this country, not through empty words, but through action. Because you know what? Success is unifying. Excellence is unifying. That's who we are as Americans. That's who we've always been. To those of you watching this at home tonight, I'd like to deliver a message that the media doesn't want you to hear from the Republican Party. Our message to black Americans is this. The media has tried to convince you for decades that Republicans don't care about your communities, but we do. We want for you what we want for every American. Safe neighborhoods, clean streets, good jobs, a better life for your children, and a justice system that treats everyone equally, regardless of your skin color and regardless of your political beliefs. Our message to every legal immigrant in this country is this. You're like my parents. You deserve the opportunity to secure a better life for your children in America. But our message to illegal immigrants is also this. We will return you to your country of origin, not because you're all bad people, but because you broke the law. And the United States of America was founded on the rule of law. Our message to millennials, speaking as one myself, yes, it's true. Our government sold us a false bill of goods with the Iraq War and the 2008 financial crisis, loading up our national debt that falls on our generation's shoulders, telling us that if we took out college loans, we'd somehow get a head start on the American dream when it hasn't worked out that way. But we can't just be cynical about our country because the United States of America is still the last best hope that we have, and we deserve a better class of politician, one who actually tells us the truth, even if it comes with some mean tweets from time to time. And our message to Gen Z is this: you're going to be the generation that actually saves this country. You want to be a rebel? You want to be a hippie? You want to stick it to the man? Show up on your college campus and try calling yourself a conservative. Say you want to get married, have kids, teach them to believe in God and pledge allegiance to their country. Because you know what? Fear has been infectious in this country, but courage can be contagious too. That too is what it means to be an American. And you know what? If you're at home and you disagree with everything I just said, our message to you is this: we will still defend to the death your right to say it, because that is who we are as Americans. We are the country where we can disagree like hell and still get together at the dinner table at the end of it. That is the America I know. That is the America we miss. We do not have to be ancient Rome. We don't have to be this nation in decline. We can still be a nation in our ascent. A nation whose best days, not in some fake politician way, but in a true way, a nation whose best days are actually still ahead of us. Still on our way to that shining city on a hill, that country where no matter who you are, or where your parents came from, or what your skin color is, or how long your last name is, that you will still get ahead in this country with your own hard work, your own commitment, your own dedication, and that you know what? You are free to speak your mind at every step of the way. That is the American dream. That is what won us the American Revolution. That is what reunited us after the Civil War. That is what won us 2 world wars and the Cold War. That is what still gives hope to the free world. And if we can revive that dream over group identity and victimhood and grievance, then nobody in the world, not a nation, not a corporation, not a virus, not China, is going to defeat us. That is what American exceptionalism is all about. And that is what we will revive this November when we send Donald J. Trump back to the White House. Thank you all. God bless you and your families. And may God bless our United States.
Whoa! Who's fired up? I'm fired up. Man, always been a fan of Vivek Ramaswamy. The man can speak. He's motivating. He's inspiring. He's a breath of fresh air when he speaks, that's for sure. I am a fan. And he's spot on. Look, the Republican Party, just like any other organization, is not perfect. It's really not 100% perfect. But when you look at the core values, right? If you look at the core values, party of the Constitution, party of being fiscally conservative, party of family values, party of parental rights, party of America first, party of being proud of being an American. Everything that I just said, what is wrong with any of those? Those values are 100% pure. It truly is. Now, I made a post the other day, hey, and I stand behind it when I said, you're either for this republic or you are my enemy. And I stand behind that comment. And a lot of the old school Democrats, I talked about this on the live a couple of days ago, they messaged me, people who followed me, people who voted for me, people who worked for my campaign who are old school Democrats. And they said, we're not your enemy. And I'm like, you're not. See, the moderate Democrats, or not the moderate Democrats, excuse me, but the old school Democrats, y'all are just moderate Republicans. You just haven't admitted it yet. And that's true. You all are moderate Republicans. Because if you claim to be a Democrat, this is very easy. If you claim to be a Democrat, then you are claiming that you are all about open borders, allowing everyone to come in here, not being vetted, right? You are for biological boys using girls' locker rooms and restrooms. You're for, if you're calling yourself a Democrat, allowing porn and sexually explicit books to be in school libraries, even at the elementary level. You are for men competing in women's sports, if you're calling yourself a Democrat. And you are for parental rights being stripped away from parents if you call yourself a Democrat. You are a Democrat if you believe those things, because that's what your party's pushing, whether you want to believe it or not. I just exposed a Democrat on X a couple of weeks ago saying, we're not pushing that. Yes, you are. And if you're for all that garbage, then you are my enemy. You are. But if you're an old school Democrat, the JFKs of the world, then I can work with you. We may not agree on everything 100%, but we all can agree that we want this little idea called America to move forward in a positive direction. You are all just moderate Republicans. You just haven't admitted it yet. The last thing that I want to leave you with, I got to bring up the video, is this shirt will be ending this week, okay? And we are raising money right now for the firefighter who unfortunately lost his life in the failed assassination attempt of our president, President Trump. So we have a shirt in there with the unbelievable image of President Trump standing up in defiance of the assassination attempt, screaming out, "Fight, fight, fight." Very powerful image. I hope they make a statue of that someday. But we are donating money to the firefighters, fund his family. Okay. Also, we got on there is this Unafraid shirt, and I love that shirt. It really represents what's going on. And we got permission from Eddie Penny, who is former SEAL Team 6 operator, who has an amazing story. Shout out to him and his company for what they're doing. He's very open about his path to Christ. It's a very powerful interview. I think it's like 4 hours. You have to look it up. Eddie Penny, Google him, DuckDuckGo him, whatever you want to use to find that interview. I strongly encourage you to watch it. But you can get these shirts at thegrassrootsarmy.com. The link is in the description of this video, and you can order a t-shirt or two to support what we're trying to do and to support the family who lost their father and husband and family member the other day, unfortunately. Okay, so I'll continue to do my best exposing the hot garbage, standing up for what's right, standing up for the ones, most importantly, that can't stand up for themselves. So please share this video today. Stephanie is just a patriot. Her and her husband, what they're doing is standing up for not only their kids, but all of yours. Please get this message out so she can get the support that they deserve. God bless you. God bless the state of Michigan, of course, and always, God bless these United States. Till next time.